whole setup.
Tim's kinda dumb, let's help him get smart. It's time to teach Tim stuff. Hey, welcome to Time to Teach Tim. We got Sean McDonough in the house. And Sean is going to teach me how to live in a van.
Yeah.
I'm actually very excited for this because I plan to completely live out of my Honda Civic.
That might be tough. You could do it. You could do it. There's some things you could take away from it. I was originally going to come here and try and teach you about physics, but I realized that your audience probably isn't going to be able to handle like differential equations. So
yeah, Dan Caprio's not going to be dissecting.
Yeah, and everybody that listens is like a couple bad decisions away from living in their car, I feel like. So hopefully this will be practical, pragmatic advice.
Yeah. Actually, I think my only listeners are my mom and dad, so if they end up living in a van, then I'm fucked too.
Well, it could, it could be rough. You guys could get an RV for 3 people.
Yeah, we did an RV trip. We did Utah. We did like the Grand Canyon area.
Yeah.
Like Hoover Dam and all that.
Yeah, the west part of the country is fucking great for that.
Yeah. Well, you've been all the way out west.
Yeah. I've got 5 states I haven't been to, I think.
Really?
Or no, maybe 4? No, hold on. Kansas. I've never been to Kansas, and I don't think I'm ever going to go to Kansas. Yeah. Like, fuck Kansas.
Corn.
I've been to all the places around Kansas. I haven't been to Alabama. No, I've been to Alabama. I haven't been to Mississippi, Louisiana, Hawaii, or Alaska.
Oh, all right.
But I've been to every other state, and like more than just like, oh, I had a layover there.
Yeah.
Like I was there for a night at least. In
That's
all those
cool.
states, yeah.
Was that like road tripping?
Part of it, I had a job for a while where I had to travel a lot, and then I would spend time in those places, and then when this van adventure that I took, I got to hit a bunch of the ones I hadn't been to before.
That's so rad. I love the album Van Comic on Spotify.
Thanks,
it's
man.
all over. It's great. You could tell you worked at that hard during that time.
That was like the first like year and a half of doing comedy. That's what I got out of it. I got like a half hour. Yeah.
Because I don't know. I don't really know your story at all. But to me, you seem like a 7, 8, 9 year guy.
3 years, maybe
really?
3.5 years.
Shit.
Yeah, I started in like I got on stage like fucking 15 years ago a couple of times. Because when I was in college, people were like, "You're funny. You should do stand-up or whatever." Yeah. And then I started trying to write jokes, and I wrote a joke that I was really proud of. And then Daniel Tosh had a special, and he had the same joke that I had, like one of the jokes that I wrote. And rather than being like, "Oh man, like a professional comedian has the same kind of thought process as you," I was like, "Dude, I'm never gonna be able to like be the first one to get one."
Yeah.
So I quit for like 10 years, and then 2017, some shit happened in my life, and I was like, I'm going to do all the stuff I said I was going to do one day.
Yeah.
So I started in 2017, got up a couple of times like that summer, and then didn't really fuck with it. And then by like the winter of 2018, I was pretty like regularly getting on stage.
Yeah.
So 3.5, whatever. I'm kind of like, I wish that like some, I don't know if it's cool to like be like, I did comedy the first time on November 17th. Yeah, but I don't really remember, you know?
I remember. I saw Dave Attell that night too. So like,
okay. So that's easy to figure it out. You can like be like, you can look in your memories or whatever and figure it out. Yeah.
I like wrote it down on the notebook that I was like, I was like, this is an important date.
Yeah.
But I remember like going to see Dave Attell after like bombing at an open mic, like me and him, same thing now.
Yeah. Dude, I remember the first time that the host came up and was like, "You were really funny tonight," and like I had been getting up for like 6 months at that point. So I was like, "Oh, I wasn't funny at all until this point right now," you know?
Yeah. And you said like you started and then you stopped. Like to me, like I think if I stop, I'm like I can't imagine coming back to the bombs, like because when you kill it feels fucking amazing, but when you bomb it feels fucking miserable.
I mean bombing, but like there's something about it though too, like I don't know if I'm a masochist, like I kind of enjoy it sometimes.
I always think when I like tell a joke and it's nothing, I'm like, well, I'll figure it out. Like, to me, it's like a math problem where like I'm gonna get there.
Yeah.
And that's a lot what bombing feels like sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, like that's. I found a way. I have like a pat joke, like if I'm bombing, where I describe what bombing feels like to the audience. You know,
Smart.
And then like that usually works for it. And it's basically like imagine that. I guess I'm just gonna do jokes from my shit right now. But like imagine that you like have no friends, you move to a new neighborhood, and you see this kid across the street and he's really cool, and you're like, I don't know what to do to hang out with him. You know, maybe you're like a military brat, you move a lot, and you're like, dude, I don't know like what to do. Like, so I think I'm gonna show him my Lego roller coaster. I'm like, it took like months to put it together. It's got like 5,000 pieces and motors. I'm really proud of it. And you invite him over and you show him the roller coaster and he punches you in the face and calls you a faggot. That's what bombing feels like.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're like, this is my soul. Here, take it. Yeah, you're a piece of shit. You know? But sometimes like the bombing, sometimes when I'm in the zone, like I'm like, dude, like you guys are having a worse time than I am.
Yeah.
If I can have that attitude, it's cool.
Yeah.
And you got to think your own shit's funny. That's what I think the biggest thing is.
Yeah. Because I mean, like, it's frustrating when I think something's funny and then it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, all right, then I'm doing it wrong. Because it's funny to me.
Right.
So what am I?
How do I get what's funny in here to make sense to other people?
Yeah.
So like, am I like how? I mean, that's life, right? How do you connect with other people?
Yeah.
And I have a friend that like my boy Jack he doesn't do stand up, but he's like most of my bits come from having conversations with him. Like we'll be talking about something and he'll be like, yo, did you like write about that? And then I'll take a note down.
Yeah.
And like all of my funniest shit, like I'll go to him and I'll be like, this is my idea. He's like, I don't know, man, I don't really get it. And it all works out. So it's like if he doesn't like it, I know that it's gonna kill.
Yeah, that's funny.
He's like a little too harsh, but you need to have that around.
So did you so going back to the van, did you start with the van here, and then because you went to school out west,
yeah?
right?
So I'll try and give you like the abridged version of it.
All
so
right.
I went to college in Oregon. I went to Oregon State University like right out of high school because I thought New Jersey was my problem. So I'm like, I got to get as far away from New Jersey as I can. It's about as far as you can go in the lower 48.
Yeah,
basically. And I didn't graduate. Like my senior year. Halfway through, I dropped out. Basically, drank myself out of school.
High school?
College.
College, all right.
College, yeah. So I was like, oh, I got to go back. And then I got a series of jobs, and I was like, I don't need a degree. And then I was kind of in between careers, and I had saved some money up, and I was like, I'm going to go finish this degree. And at that point, I was like, I want to travel. That's all I've ever wanted to do. So if I can live in my vehicle, I don't have to pay rent. If I want to go camping on the weekend, I don't have to, like, worry about it.
Yeah.
So initially I had a pickup truck and I was going to like build something in the back of the pickup truck.
Yeah.
And then like it was time to go. It was getting close to getting time to go and I was like, fuck, what am I going to do? And I found a guy in Tom's River that had like 3 vans he was working on that he started building out into like things to stay in.
Oh, all right, that's sick.
And so I just bought that van from him. I got it home, and I didn't realize like the dude was really nice to me, but he had a swastika glued into the inside of the van.
I remember.
So I had to take that out. Yeah. And then somebody was like, well, maybe you should have kept that in case you get caught in the woods of Idaho or something like that. Be like, I'm okay. And then I just like tailored it kind of to what I felt that I needed, like basically the shit I wanted to put into it. And then I lived in it for a year.
Yeah. So you bought it here and drove it out there.
Drove it out there and then drove it back.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Now, like, you need to know, like, so much in order to do that. You need to know, like, how to work with electricity, like the electric in a motor vehicle, which is different than electric for, like, a house. And
yeah, so I learned a lot of stuff by not having the things that I wanted or, like, not doing. Like, if I was going to do it again, I know so much more from fucking it up the first time, basically. Yeah. But like the key thing, if I was going to do it now, I would find. So I had a van that was like a Ford. It was a regular cargo van.
Oh, right.
But it had been modified by like an ambulance company, and not like an emergency ambulance company, like an ambulatory surgical company. Like basically it was a wheelchair van.
Yeah.
That had the lift taken out of it, so it had a high top. So I think that is the most key thing if you're going to live in a van. Like, anything else you could trade for it, you need to be able to stand straight up inside of it. Otherwise, you're going to be miserable.
Yeah.
You don't want to have to be hunched over every time that you want to get changed or whatever you want to do.
Yeah, anytime. Like, actually, I've learned that I'm okay in this basement perfectly. Anywhere that I walk, I will not hit my head.
Right.
But if I go...
Right.
I will hit my head.
And even if that's the case, though, like, just to be able to be like, okay, I'm straight up. I don't have to be bent over like this the whole time. I'd say that's the number one thing.
Yeah.
So if I were going to do it now, I would get a Sprinter van. If I could afford a Mercedes, I would probably get a Mercedes. But if not, I'd get one of like the Dodge or the Ford ones with the high top.
Yeah.
And depending on what you want to do with it, like if you're going to be, there's all this weird lingo and shit. Like they call it boondocking. If you're camping in a place that's not like a campground.
Yeah.
I would try and make it look like a contractor's van from the outside. Like just nondescript.
All right, so that way no one's
kind of on top of what you're doing. Like if you wanted to go even farther with it, if you got like a decal that said like Joe Schmo's Plumbing, like that would probably even be better, I would think.
Smart, and then you can park in like neighborhoods.
Exactly,
and no one's gonna
be the wiser about it. Yeah,
that's smart.
Yeah.
Now, like, how much uptake of the actual van, like the actual motor, is it pretty much just normal for those types of vehicles?
I would say so. The only thing, so I got lucky. I got a relatively low mileage van, and I didn't have any problems with it.
Yeah.
The one thing about it is that like if you're going to be living in there, you got to realize that gas is going to be expensive because like my van got. It's funny, my van, until I got to like the Rockies, basically got like 17 miles a gallon on the parkway. But then as I went through the northern part of the country, through the hills and shit like that, it was like 12. Just because like you're at higher altitudes, you have to climb and go up and go down. And weight is a big consideration with that. So like the heavier something is, the more gas you're going to take to get around with it.
Yeah, true. I didn't really think of it because like all the stuff you have to build out, most likely you're building with wood.
Yeah, everything that I had was wood. You could do it like it depends on your budget too. You have to look and clearly be like, what can I afford to do to this thing?
Yeah.
Because the stuff adds up quickly, especially now. Like lumber is out of control right now.
Yeah. It's insane. Like I don't really even get it. Like what?
The demand for just like renovations, particularly, and also like supply chains. I mean, from what I understand, I don't know. I'm talking like I fucking understand economics.
Yeah.
I read like a Bloomberg article like twice a week, and all of a sudden I'm smarter than everybody I meet. But
as long as you don't have Dogecoin, you're good.
Yeah, I didn't get in on that. No, I got fucked on the cryptos. I had 4 Bitcoin like right when it came out, and I sold them for like $3. So I'm that guy. But I don't tell everybody about it, although I just told everybody about it.
Yeah.
So I probably would have died if I had all that money though at that point.
Oh yeah.
I might have went off the deep end.
If you had 3 Bitcoin now, like you're like a millionaire.
You'd have like a couple $100,000.
All right.
Which
that's a millionaire.
But the older you get, the less that seems. It's weird.
Yeah.
The less it seems like.
God.
But if you're living in a van, a couple $100,000 could fucking get you through a nice little run there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have like cooking, like hot plate or anything?
So I had a camp stove. I wasn't set up really perfectly to cook inside the van because I didn't. And that's a sketchy thing. Like I would be careful with that. Like a hot plate would be good because you don't have to worry about fumes.
Yeah.
I had a little camp stove. So I would go, like, if I was going to cook, I'd usually go to, like, a place where you could, like a picnic place or something like that.
Yeah. But for the most part, you're probably eating, like, fast food, takeout.
Yeah. That's what I did most of the time.
Yeah, that's how I live anyway, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, because I didn't have running water, which would have been nice to have.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't live in it during COVID, which is great because it must have been rough for the people that were doing it because the gym is like your best friend. You need a gym membership because you can shower.
Yeah.
That's the only way that really you can shower at gyms, or you can like truck stops will have showers. Some of them are really nice too. Yeah. But they're like the truck stop ones are kind of expensive. They're like $10 a shower usually.
Jesus Christ.
The truckers get them for free because they buy all the fuel or whatever it is. Right, but if you're like, hey, I just want to take a shower, they'll be like, it's $10 or whatever,
Yeah. I wonder if they do that to try to stop like homeless people from just coming in.
Yeah, it's definitely a barrier to entry thing, I would think.
Which that's stupid because, like, wouldn't you want your homeless to be clean?
Yeah, I think so, but I don't think you want them. I mean, there's no. I don't know, man. That's a tough thing, right?
Yeah.
It's another thing too. Like, so are you homeless if you live in a van?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Right?
Yeah. See, I live here with my parents, and I consider myself homeless.
Yeah, but that's not like.
I know it's not the same.
Right?
I call it technically homeless because, like, God forbid something happens to them. Like, this is probably not in their will to give it to me.
Right. Right.
Yeah. It's like I'm dependent. I'm like homeless dependent.
Yeah, but that's different than unhoused. Or
Yeah,
like,
unhoused.
As if calling them unhoused is going to give them somewhere to stay.
Yeah,
because homeless is offensive, I think, now.
If we relabel it, though, it's fine.
Yeah, so like I got jacked when I was living in the van because I was like, if I'm going to the gym to shower anyway, I might as well work out.
Yeah.
So I got in really good shape. I also didn't want people to think that I lived in a van.
Oh, yeah.
Some people. You got to play like your cards with that carefully.
Yeah.
You don't want to tell a lot of people that, you know?
Well, so it's technically illegal, right?
It's very like jurisdiction dependent.
Really? All right.
So like some places are not cool with it. Some places, like one time I was visiting a friend of mine in Portland, right? And he was waiting on a flight to get back. So I was like, I'll just park in this park and fucking take a nap. And the cops showed up like right away.
Yeah.
Because parking in the park is illegal. He's like, you can go on the street because we decided it's not illegal on the street here.
Oh, all right.
So it's very like dependent upon where you are and what the local laws are. Like, you know, basically
so
like, basically the more wealthy and the more wealthy that a place is, typically the less likely they want people staying there. Which is why if you had a van that looked like a plumber's van would be the way to do it.
Yeah.
And then like the more liberal a place is, usually the cooler, the less likely they are to fuck with you.
Yeah.
But then the more likely you are to get fucked with by the other unhoused people. So you gotta have good locks and stuff on your shit, you know?
Yeah, I never would have thought of that. Like, you're like literally a pull on a handle away from losing everything.
Yeah, basically. The coolest thing about it, though, like one of the coolest things about it is I got rid of so much crap because it's like you have to figure out what's really important, you know?
Yeah.
So you get down to like basics. You're like, okay, I need like communication stuff. I need clothes, and then like stuff for my hobbies.
Yeah.
You know, and then I had things set up where like it wasn't easy to get to my, you know, essential documents and shit like that. Yeah. So I had a platform where my bed was, and underneath that, like you would have to spend a lot of time digging around to find where my little safe deposit box was.
Yeah. I have a friend who's not really a friend. This kid I knew growing up. He's a rock climber, so he saw a free solo, and he's like, I'm living out of the van too.
Right.
But he's like been posting like pictures of it, and he built this awesome like in the wall of the van like a security deposit box type thing, and it's totally hidden in the wall. Like you wouldn't be able to know it was there. And I was like, that's fucking genius.
I mean, that's pretty dumb for him to show everybody that, though, right?
Yeah.
That's just
chances are, if you break into his van looking for that, though, you're not like scrolling his social.
Possible.
Yeah,
possible. True. You know, you never know. You can't trust these bitches out here these days. You know.
He has it like one of those old Honda Civics and just got his Instagram on the side.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know why people do that.
Dude, the Instagram handle on your car, like those people should be round up and put into camps.
Yeah,
that's my opinion on that. I have a lot of thoughts on that, actually. I have a lot of thoughts on who should and shouldn't be put in an internment camp.
I mean, like day camp, summer camp, right?
No. I mean, you know, some of them, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Nothing based upon race, creed, or anything like that. It's all based upon like how well you suck your own dick, basically. You know.
Yeah, we should eliminate people by their personality.
Yeah. Adult Disney person, maybe you can get out on work release, but you know.
Yeah.
Like unless you got like kids or something, you know.
Yeah. Well, we'll just turn. No, actually, I was gonna say we'll turn them into Disney babysitters.
Well, or turn them into Disney. Like just keep them in Disneyland.
All right. Yeah, I'm for that.
Yeah, keep them in Disneyland. I don't know. This is going down a weird track.
Yeah.
two white guys talking about putting people in camps is not a popular topic for a good reason.
Yeah, no, it hasn't worked out well in history.
No. The other thing you got to consider with and then like the two other big things about living in a van is insulation.
Ooh, yes.
For hot and for cold.
Ooh, yeah.
Because
I thought about it for
my van was not like the best insulated. Like if I was going to do it again, I would insulate it much better. And really, it was a problem. Like people were like, "Oh, don't you get cold?" And the reality is, if it's cold, like you can wear, layers of clothes and get in a sleeping bag and find a way to be comfortable. Like I mean, obviously, if you're going to be camping in like Alaska and it's 20 degrees below, that might be a little different story. But for like regular weather, most places in the country, you're never going to get too cold as long as you're not. I mean, some people don't handle the cold well, but you can always bundle up. But the heat is a motherfucker.
Yeah, I never thought of that. That's got to be like middle of summer.
Miserable.
Yeah,
disgusting. Like you gotta, and it's weird too. Like how vented do you have the place, right? Like how much? So I had the kind of windows that pop out, which were good, but they don't let a lot of air through. Yeah. So I had that, and I had a little fan, that would blow on my face basically. But I'd pretty much be sleeping in my boxers, like on top of the bed that I had. Yeah. And then the other thing you got to consider is, and the insulation helps with that, is moisture. Like, everything will get wet inside there, more or less, especially if it's humid outside.
Yeah. And I mean, you're in the Pacific Northwest, so everything's
soaked all the time. All the time. Yeah. So it was always, and also, like, I'm not the neatest person naturally. If you don't like put things back where they go right away, like it gets crazy in a second, because basically like, my living space was like, I had the place where I slept, and then the room that I had to move around was like what's in frame right here. Yeah. For everything that I owned, Yeah. So you got to be neat. You got to figure out like, what do you need and what don't you need? And then like, I would think about like, what are you planning on doing it for? Right? Like, so I was lucky. I kind of went into it like with a goal of doing that and just end up living there. Yeah. That would be an entirely different story.
Yeah. When you plan on doing that, it's fun.
Right.
When you don't plan, it's like, fuck.
Yeah. I mean, it's still not fun all the time when you plan on doing it, But, I mean, like, I got pretty lucky. I never really got fucked with. The other thing, too, is like, there's a website, and I can't remember the name of it, but basically like Walmarts will let anyone park in their things, like almost all of them, unless there's like a local ordinance against it. Yeah. So I stayed in a Walmart like every time I was traveling. I would stay in a Walmart parking lot. Yeah. And then when you get out west, there's all kinds of BLM land, like free places you can go camping, basically.
Oh, all right.
So there's national parks, but then there's Bureau of Land Management. So when you get to like the big empty states out there, not that BLM, different BLM.
I was like, why Black Lives Matter? You can do free.
Bureau of Land Management.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's like public land, like that's
public
like,
land.
Like the land that like anyone can hunt on, stuff like
basically,
that.
Yeah. And you can stay there for free. You don't have to pay to stay there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot more of that out west.
Yes. Yeah. There's none of that over here. Everything's developed.
No, everything is owned by someone.
Yeah. Even if you get into places where there's nothing, somebody owns it usually. And then like the other thing that's important about it too is like I think is like trying to like I looked less homeless when I lived in the van than I do now. Because depending, like, you don't know how people are going to react to that sort of idea if you're doing that. So,
and if they come up to you in the van, and like, let's say you're like driving or something or parked, if you don't look like you live there, then that's not the first thing you think when you see that van.
Right. And the other thing too is like a way to prevent people from seeing in the front of the van. So I had like window shades, like the things you would put out when it's hot out. Yeah. And so the other thing that's important too is where do you go to the bathroom? Yeah. So I had, and a lot of people think this is gross, but you you would do it too, probably. I had a 5-gallon bucket from like Home Depot.
Yeah.
I cut a hole in the floor of the van. I put another 5-gallon bucket underneath it, so it was like the bottom was like a toilet, basically. Yeah. It had a lid, and in the middle of the night, if I had to pee, I would pee into the bucket, and it would go out the bottom of the van, and then I would rinse it. Like I always had water with me. I had big containers of water. I would rinse it, and I'd put the lid back on it. I would never take a shit in there. If you had to, you'd have to like shit in a plastic bag, I would think, and then get rid of it somewhere.
Yeah.
So it's important that you have places where you can go do those things, which is like,
because you can't plan on everything.
Right. You can't. Yeah. And you gotta be flexible with it. Like if you're one of those people who's like, I only shit at home, like it's like,
Maybe van life isn't for you.
No. Yeah.
So you were doing this too at a time where like that was really starting, like tiny homes were like becoming a thing. It's like weird, like a thing, like it became like this like sort of like movement among people, I guess. I don't know. But like, because this was what you said like 3 years ago about?
It's like 2018 to 2019.
All right, so like 3, 4. Yeah, like that's like when that all started, and it's so weird because like I had seen people live in vans before that because of skateboarding, because of surfing. You follow those type of people, you see that.
Right.
And like when that all blew up and became like, I was like, look at these gentrifiers. Now they're gentrifying vans. It's like
there's a lot of people like I mean, it's a pretty like. Honestly, though, it's like a pretty, like, if you're making the decision to consciously live in a van, like, you're doing better than, like, 99.9% of the people on planet Earth, I would say. Yeah.
Well, there's this cartoon that I always, like, think back of. It's everybody walking on the street, and then, like, a homeless guy sitting on the street. And above it, it shows the amount of debt they're in, like, their total value.
Right.
And it's all these people, banker, minus $25,000, minus $100,000, suits, and the homeless guy, it's plus 37 cents.
Right.
Right. Like
that's a little. There's a little romance to that, though.
Yeah.
There's a little romance to that, though.
Yeah.
When you see those homeless guys on the street, like, I mean, we could try to like mince words or whatever, but like it's mental illness or drug addiction.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or both usually.
Yeah.
And most of the people that stay on the streets, it's drug addiction because they don't want to stop doing drugs when they go, because there's a lot of places that people can go to. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, I mean, I luckily, knock on wood, never got that deep with drug addiction. But like a lot of that is so like, you have the ability to do better, but it's like beyond you.
Well, I think
it's like a different world that you can't quite tap into.
Right, and there's like a complacency that comes with it. Like, like there is to that point of that cartoon, right? Like it's a pretty free life that you're living, aside from the fact that, like the reality is like paying for shit costs something.
Yeah.
Like your soul a little bit sometimes, or whatever it may be, right? Like if you gotta go to work, like, okay, am I gonna go to work and have a place to stay, or am I gonna just fucking do what I want to do? Well, if I'm gonna just do what I want to do, there's consequences to that.
Yeah. And like to me, like one of the big things, like at my lowest, was I got gotten kicked out of my apartment that I was living the town over.
Right.
And it was like, I need a place to live. Like I cannot handle that. So to me, like it was an equation. It was drugs or housing. Right. And I was like, housing's more important to me. So like it was simple.
Drugs are pretty sweet though.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like drugs are pretty cool. Like,
well, that's the thing. I was like 28. I was like, I had done drugs now for, I was like 14 the first time I got high, so like 14 years. So I was like half and half. I was like, all right, now I'm going to try another 14 years without drugs.
Right. Yeah. I stopped when I was 26. I put a good 12 years in.
Yeah.
It was good. I got, you got
it thoroughly.
40, I got 40 years in 12, I think.
Yeah. I have a feeling we would have gotten along real good.
I don't know. I didn't get along well with anybody at that point.
Oh, all right.
I was pretty volatile. I wasn't like a fun person to be around.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I was I was fun until. Mm-hmm. And then there was that line that would get crossed, and then all of a sudden it was like, you know, I would be like threatening people and
yeah.
But
Well, Irish, right?
yeah.
There's always a level of drunk. Like Irish people are happy drunks until a certain point.
Right, and then everybody's you're gonna fight everybody.
Yeah. I always said that line is American whiskey. Like once you get to American whiskey, then it's fuck all of you.
Yeah. I never do bourbon. Ugh.
Jack Daniels, I will murder someone on Jack Daniels. Like that's just I could never do it.
Yeah.
Irish whiskey, Telmadou, Jameson, I'm good. But like American whiskey, Jack Daniels, Jim Beam, like there's that level, and then I'm fuck everyone.
Yeah, I mean, looking back on it, I could try and say that, but I just wasn't good. Period. You know, it was like Russian roulette. Every time I would start drinking, it would be like, is this gonna work out, or am I gonna end up in handcuffs?
Yeah,
pretty much.
That's a good way to say it.
You know, like not everything. It wasn't like something bad happened every time that I was drinking, but pretty much every time I did something stupid, I was hammered.
Yeah.
You know, more or less. Like I would have. If it wasn't for drugs and alcohol, I would have 0 arrests. You know what I mean? I'm not like a criminal person without the influence of chemicals.
Yeah.
You know? But I didn't live in the van when I was on drugs, which is like...
Yeah, that's a big thing. Because like that can get... When you have something of value...
Right.
And you have an addiction problem...
Right.
It just easily goes...
That would be a wild pawn. Like if you went to pawn your title of your house, essentially, but it was where you were living, you know? You're like, I got this 03 Econoline. It's only got 85,000 miles.
What can I get for it?
But I mean, I'm all for people living in tiny homes and vans because I think that like there's too many realtors. So I think the less that people have to use realtors. And if you think about it, right, like a realtor is the only person other than somebody that owns a pawn shop or a prostitute that puts their face on their own marketing materials.
Ooh, yeah.
And quite frankly, prostitutes and people that own pawn shops are more trustworthy than realtors, in my opinion.
And they take less.
Yeah. They take less of it and they do more for you.
Yeah.
They help you out more.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
Dude, there's 1.5 million realtors in this country, and there's
Jesus
at any given day there's 500,000 homes for sale. So that means that 2 out of 3 realtors are absolutely useless.
Yeah.
On any given day.
Well, that's the thing. I never understood why you needed somebody to sell a house. Like any other property.
It's a fucking conspiracy, dude.
Yeah.
It's a conspiracy. The realtors and the title insurance people and the fucking lawyers are like, we're going to make these contracts so fucking confusing that if you don't hire us, you're going to get fucked.
Yeah. Like, what is the home inspection? I get maybe wanting to have like a bureau that like is accredited. So, yes,
Sure.
This is an accredited home inspector.
Right.
He's not lying to you when he says this.
Right. I mean, that makes sense. Yeah.
But like the realtor, like, and then so like you're selling your house, you have your realtor. Then the people are buying the house, they have their realtor, and like, what do they get together and just laugh? Like, what is?
Yeah. How am I supposed to trust that you have my best interests in hand when you're getting paid? You know, if I'm buying a house in particular,
Yeah.
because what you're getting paid is based upon the cost of the house.
Yeah.
So like, what the fuck? Like, if I'm selling a house, yeah, dude, fucking jack the price of that shit up as high as you can.
Yeah.
You know, get your money. But if I'm buying a house, like, how am I supposed to trust you?
Yeah, I don't. There's a lot of things I don't get. Like, I don't. Also, when they came out with that fake cookie smell spray, that's when I was like, these motherfuckers are.
There's a fake cookie smell spray.
You don't
like,
know? Oh,
fake cookie smell. Like, so when you're showing a house, you can have a cookie smell. My God, that's devious.
Yep, these motherfuckers are
diabolical.
Good.
Dude.
Yeah. You go into a house, you smell fresh cookies, you love that house. Like, that's simple math. You go in there, there's no cookies.
I'll just start going around to open houses, just crop dusting, just shitting in the toilet with no water running, you know.
Yeah. I always wanted to do, like, the baby monitor and, like, pretend to be a ghost.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Or just get something to rattle somewhere in the house for no reason. You know? Just a high pitch in the background, like just above a dog whistle.
Dude, yeah, just me. The realtor has no clue what's going on.
I fucking came here yesterday. Didn't smell like shit, and the sound wasn't here. I swear I'm cursed. It's like, you should get a real job, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know?
That being said, that's my fallback plan is realty.
I mean, dude, you know, whatever, man. You might as well get into it.
Yeah.
What does it cost? Like, it costs like $30 in fucking 2 hours of your life to get a realtor's license.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, fucking, why not, dude?
Yeah, and now you can sell it right on Facebook. You don't even have to.
You can sell insurance. I did that for a while. You know.
Yeah.
You can sell insurance. You can just be like, yeah, dude, you need some shit in case some shit happens. But like, if shit doesn't happen, like, you know, you still need that shit.
My mom works for insurance.
Yeah.
Insurance agency.
Insurance is actually, like, kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
if
well,
you
like,
think about it. Like, on some
yeah.
levels. It sucks that you have to have it, but you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, dude, I can't afford all this kind of stuff.
Thank God for insurance. I've been in so many accidents that, like, if I didn't have insurance, I would not have a car right now.
Yeah. That's the other thing too. Actually, is like, so you can register a van that you live in as an RV, so it has different inspection requirements in the state of New Jersey. It doesn't have to get inspected.
Really?
Which is nice. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because they're assuming you're not using it really as much.
I guess. I don't know what the deal is, but like, the insurance is different. The insurance is usually less because I think they don't assume that you're driving it every day.
Yeah.
You know, if you register it as a recreational vehicle. But then you have to watch out because there's certain places like where you can't have commercial vehicles. Even if you don't have commercial plates, right? So if you have the plumber truck, right, and it's like a neighborhood that's like no commercial vehicles, you would be it'd be kind of fucked.
Yeah. That's weird.
But like, you could, it's a good place to live by yourself too. Like, I'll see people where they're like 2 people are living in a van. I'm like, there's no fucking way you could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
people in jail cells have more personal space.
yeah.
Usually, you know.
Now, like, are you the type of person that does fine on their own?
Yeah.
Like, you can go like weeks without seeing people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually I do better that way.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. I think I'm a mix. Like, I need to interact with people for 1 hour every 2 days.
Yeah. I'm not like perfectly whatever it is, but like, I can't handle too much.
Yeah.
I can't handle too much around people, but like, I can't be. I would do better. I think I would do better if, like, gun to my head, if it was like for 2 weeks you don't see anybody, or for 2 weeks you see everyone you've ever met.
Yeah. No,
I would do better not seeing anybody.
Yeah.
But, you know, ideally I'd like to have a mixed bag of that.
Yeah.
But that's the cool thing about doing comedy and living in a van is you can, like, I met people all over the country just like doing mics and shit like that.
Yeah.
You know, and then like you meet people and they're like, oh, you can come sleep on the couch for the evening or park in my driveway. That's a nice one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Because then you don't have to, you still have your space. You don't have to worry about
Right.
being a guest.
Right. Yeah.
Because that, like, I went out, like, my family. So me and my mom, my sister, we went out to visit my brother when he lived in California. So we go and we stay in his house, no hotel, nothing like that.
Yeah.
Day like 3 or 4, like, my brain just shuts down. I can't process anything anymore.
Right.
And like, I feel bad, but like, I go into myself and then I'm not fun.
Right. Yeah.
But if I could have had like 3 hours where I just go and do me, reset, and then I'm good again.
Right.
So that's why the idea of van living seems so appealing to me, because it's a place that's, no one crosses that border that I don't want them to.
Right.
Most of the time.
It's truly your own, like, palace.
Yeah.
Like, it's like your own little, you know, like, you can let as many people in as you want or not. You know what I mean? And like, I mean, I never let anybody in, really. I mean, I took a road trip with a buddy of mine, but we ended up like staying in Airbnbs and stuff while we were there, you know, because it was like, dude, we're not going to snuggle in the back of this van on a repurposed foam mattress, you know.
So, like, supply wise, like, what would you keep in there? I mean, food, like blankets, stuff like that.
Right.
Like, would you consider the essentials to have?
So I'd say the essentials. I bought 2 like, I think they're like 7.5 gallon water containers, and they look like those jerry cans that you'll see in like an old like Land Rover or something like that. You ever seen those like gas cans on the back, like those big ones like that? But they're nice because they're skinny, so it's like you can kind of find a place to put them. I'd say that's essential because You need water if you want to, drink it, obviously. If you got to clean stuff, you need water. If you want to shower, like, so I also had, I bought this little, I actually bought it from before, just from surfing, but I bought this like little portable shower.
Is it the bag thing with the shower head on it? Kind of.
No, but those would probably be cooler actually for what I was looking for. Mine was like called a rinse kit. It was more to like rinse out your wetsuits and stuff when you're done, really.
Oh, right.
But it's basically a pressurized thing that has a hose.
Yeah.
And you could shower with it if you had to, if you got into a jam. So somewhere to keep water is essential. Some good way to charge your electronic stuff, like especially in this day and age. Yeah. So I had a couple of these big power banks that were like, you could charge them with a USB thing. So I could like go into the library when I was going to school and charge it in the wall. And then later I could charge my phone with it or my computer or whatever you need with it. Power inverter is like important depending upon what you want to do. So you get a power inverter, you can run that off of the alternator in the car, and it'll charge like a separate car battery that you can also use for electronics later.
Oh.
So that just inverts DC from the battery into alternating current, so you could use it for like everyday stuff.
Yeah.
And then sleeping bag, a liner for the sleeping bag, and like that's better than getting like a super. I think that's better than getting like a super cold one, because then you have some ability to like change it. Like if it's really cold, you can put the extra fleece liner in. If it's not, you can take it out. Somewhere to keep your laundry. And then like whatever kind of like non-perishable food that you're into.
All right.
You know, so like I had like cans of tuna, usually nuts, like dry, like jerky or dried vegetables or something like that. You know what I mean? Granola bars, shit like that. And then what else would I say is essential? I mean, and then like, I think that's probably like you could get away with just that, and then somewhere comfortable to sleep if you're really going to be like making a thing out of it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, like I for like years down here, I slept on this thing. It was just 5-inch foam. Yeah. And like honestly, like I was comfortable with that for like
that's kind of what
a long time.
Yeah. So I had a wooden thing, and I was like, I didn't know, it was a weird shape the way that I had it set out, so I couldn't get like a standard mattress for it necessarily. Yeah. So I was like, oh, what am I going to do with foam? And I ended up getting a queen mattress topper, like a foam one, like a 3-inch one, and doubling that over. And then under, like, wood underneath it, so it was, like, firm underneath, but plush on top, sort of. It was perfect. It was, like, as comfortable as anything I sleep in now, honestly. Yeah. You know? That's
the thing, like, I don't think people realize, like, how... I mean, once you're sleeping on that, like, you find a way to get... I think you adjust to it. Yeah. But, like, people who sleep in these fucking memory foam, I honestly, they have been just as comfortable as that 5-inch foam thing. Yes.
Yeah. It's all, and it's about like an attitude and mindset with it too, I think. Yeah. You know, weird to sleep on your side, kind of on those things. So it's like a back sleeper or whatever. But, the other thing that is actually absolutely essential, I would say too, is like those sun visors that I was talking about before.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because like, if I got to get changed or something like that, like I don't want anybody to be able to see what I'm doing in the van. So like my van had a little room in the back.
All right.
Basically, so I put up a wall in the back. So if you looked into it, you couldn't really see me in the back there, but you kind of could if you were like really looking for it.
All right.
So I would put those things in the front and then get changed in the front part of it anyway, you know?
All right. Yeah.
So something for privacy, something to keep you warm, water, and then organization, like however you want to do that. Yeah. Because you got to stay organized in there, or it's going to like, you're just going to be crawling through shit all the time. Yeah. Which I ended up doing all the time anyway.
Yeah. But like, I don't know, like I'm very comfortable like when things have a place. Like, even if that place is just shoe boxes. Yeah. You know, like I'm very comfortable with that. But like when my room like starts to get like then I'm a mess usually.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's like I mean, in the van, and then now, like, if I don't do anything else, I just have to like make my bed.
Yeah.
Like, if I do that, I'm like, okay, I did something.
Yeah.
You know?
Very Jordan Peterson of you.
Is that one of his things?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, that's any self, what are the self-help people? That's step one, is like make your bed.
yeah, well, it's like an achievable goal.
Yeah,
it's like you can actually do that, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, yeah. What does he have, like 14 rules to 12? 12 rules?
Yeah, it's definitely not a book that I have on the shelf.
12 rules for life. An antidote to not being a Nazi, is that what it says? Or an antidote to chaos?
It's how to make people completely hate you.
Yeah. How to be a dork.
Yeah.
No.
Which, you know what's funny? Like, that book, like, honestly, it reads like a 12-step book.
A 12 rules, 12 steps. Yeah, it's
all like take
it's all the same shit, though.
accountability.
It's all the same shit.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the 12-step shit is all the same shit. It's basically like, for whatever reason, people that don't have like addiction or mental illness or like whatever, like they just do those things.
Yeah.
They don't need to have somebody be like, hey, this is what you need to do. It's like, I think people that are like normal, like, oh yeah, I wake up, I like do my bed, and like if I say I'm gonna do something, I do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
like keep it pretty easy. You know?
Yeah.
Like, so the cool thing too, like I always was into sort of the idea of like a fort. Like living in a van was kind of like having a fort when you were a kid, you know, or like a tree house.
Yeah, exactly.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's like again, it's very much like an attitude where it's like, I don't know how to say this. So it's you not versus the world, but it's your place in the world. Like you're able to travel and be a part of something, but also like
have your own platform. Yeah. Which is like if you were like going vacation, right, and you're like renting a car and staying in Airbnbs or hotels or whatever, it's like you're a tourist, you know.
Yeah.
If you're living in the place where you're going, it's like you are, but like that's just what you're doing for that period of time.
Yeah.
You know, so like I would be in school, and then, you know, I would wake up in the morning, I would go to the gym, shower, go to class, stay in the library or in the computer lab, which actually was like, honestly, like the coolest thing about it is it made you live deliberately. Because like, what are you gonna do? You're not gonna just go fucking chill in the van.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe like if, you know, whatever, you might go watch some Netflix or something for a little bit, but it's not like a comfortable place to just hang out. It's like somewhere to sleep, and then like, you know, if you got to go somewhere, you go somewhere.
Yeah.
And then on the weekends or days that I didn't have class, I would go to like wherever on the Oregon coast or out in the woods somewhere, or just find somewhere to go stay.
Yeah.
And then I would meet people at open mics, and then I would be like, where's the next place to go?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And like, so it's almost like your schedule then becomes like, I need a place for this. Like, you know, like I need a place for me.
Yeah. I mean, kind of, because like if you were, you know, because I think if you were to go like straight cost analysis, like, so if I were to live in the town that I went to college in an apartment without the van, it would probably cost the same as if I was living in the van without the apartment. But you kind of save on the like, okay, having an apartment and a car would be more than living in the van.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Because like you would have to pay rent living in the apartment, but you can also cook easier, and you spend less money on food and trinkets and bullshit like that, and gas and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But you don't have that freedom to just be like, I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want tonight.
Yeah.
You know, like I would go to the towns that I would go to do comedy, and I would go to like the central part of Oregon. I'd go to Salem or like Lebanon, or I'd go to Portland or wherever the fuck it was, right, on a Tuesday night. And I would have class on Wednesday morning, and if I didn't want to leave on Tuesday night, like I would just sleep and leave early in the morning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, which was pretty fucking cool for a comedian's lifestyle.
Yeah.
So like the goal for me now is like I would like to do it again, but like in a like the upgraded 2.0 version. Like get a nice one, and then you got to think about what you're doing for money though.
Yeah.
You know, I was kind of living off of savings for a little bit, which was like tough. So I was always like, you know, like, am I doing dollar menu or am I going to get, you know, something good to eat?
Yeah.
And then, you know, but like if you had a job where you could work remotely and you could get like, you know, a 5G card for your computer so you could work remotely, it could be a really cool opportunity.
Yeah. I know a lot of people who go to the library to work.
Right.
Like, just because it's reliable Wi-Fi.
Right.
And
You could do that living, you know, if you had a job where you didn't have to be anywhere, that would be really cool. And then you could go see a lot of stuff. Because, like, there's this idea that, like, you know, that there's sort of like, oh, take me back, you know, like I went to the Maldives or whatever, which is cool. Like, don't get me wrong. I would love to go to, like, a lot of other places across the world. But you could spend a significant portion of your life just traveling around America and never see the same thing twice.
Yep.
Like, this country's fucking huge.
Yeah. Especially if you love, like, nature, natural parks. Like, it's amazing, the topography, the geography of America.
Yeah.
It's, like, my favorite thing is to see, like, the topography map where it's like the Appalachian Trail and then it's just wild flatness, and then the whole entire West Coast from like Colorado on, it's just
up and down, up and down, up and down,
insane mountain.
Yeah.
And like, really, there's something for everyone everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, I did down the Blue Ridge last summer. Just the drive, stopping at a park here and there, stopping at a tiny little town.
Yeah.
Like, that was so, I got to where I was going. I was like, this is boring. I want to drive more.
Yeah. And the thing for me too is like, I've always kind of traveled this way. And some people, like, I think if you're like we got to get this done itinerary, kind of person, like, I think that's going to be a hard way for you to live. Like, you got to be open, like, from my experience, you got to be open to just like what's going to happen. Yeah. So like, two of the coolest fucking things that happened when I was living in the van, I drove to Chicago. I picked my sister up, so she was going to drive with me. We were going to take a trip. Like, she was going to come with me to the West Coast and fly back to Chicago. So I pick her up in Chicago. We drive up through Wisconsin. We ate like the saltiest cheese curds on earth. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh, this is why everyone's like 400 pounds here. You know? And then we get into South Dakota. And the one side of South Dakota is like really boring, like a lot of the Midwest. Yeah. And if you're from the Midwest, like, you know it's boring too. Like, don't get mad about it. Like, it's like you got lakes and shit, I guess. You know? Yeah. But then when you get to like the western part of or North Dakota, I'm sorry. Not South Dakota, but South Dakota is kind of the same deal. When you get to the western part of it, it starts to change and get cool. So we stayed outside of Bismarck, which is the capital of North Dakota. And then the next morning, like, I'm just like an early riser, so I get up and I start driving west on I-90, start seeing this shit on the side of the road, and the sun's coming up, and we just ended up in like the Painted Hills. Like, I didn't know it was there. I wasn't like, this is somewhere we got to go. It was just sunrise over the Painted Hills.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
And then my uncle lived in Montana, so we spent a night in Montana at his place, which he didn't really know I was doing. Like, sorry, Uncle John. Like, I called him. I didn't know I was doing it either. I just figured, like, I've never seen his place, and he lives right off of the highway. Like, I'm not going to not say what's up when I'm in Montana, you know? Stayed there. That was cool. And then the next day, we drove through Idaho into Washington, stayed at a Walmart outside of Spokane, started driving in the morning again early. All of a sudden, I'm like, what is this on the side of the road? Columbia River Gorge. Like, just gorgeous. The coolest shit you've ever seen in your life, you know? No idea. Like, just like, okay, we're trying to get to Seattle in like 3 days. You know what I mean? And this is just what happens along the way. Yeah. So, like, that's the coolest stuff that you run into.
And that's like, I mean, like, that's like been hammered into me from like on the road. Like, just go. Yeah. And the story is the travel, not the, like, because I always loved in that whenever he's like, oh, we're going to Denver, and he gets to Denver, and then it's like, oh, Denver sucks. Yeah. And he's like, let's go to, it's always the adventure is the actual getting there. Yeah. And the things along the way, and then he gets there, and it's like, well, this sucks.
Going on like weird highways instead of the interstate if it's possible, like, depending on what your schedule is, you know what I mean? Like, just going to weird back alley shit, like, find cool roadside food. Yeah. Yep. You know?
It's always the best. And then, like, even if it isn't like the best, like that experience elevates it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Like when you've been like riding all day and you pull up to some like little, you know, mom and pop fucking barbecue place, like you're not like, oh man, are these the best ribs I've ever had? You're like, this is awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I actually so I left my uncle's house in Montana and I ate breakfast in a cafe in the town that the Unabomber was sending his bombs from.
Oh, cool.
Lincoln, Montana.
That's rad.
It was pretty wild. Right across the street from the post office. And you're like, oh man, this was the center of like America's anxiety for like 30 years was this little tiny post office in a town of like 300 people.
Yeah.
That's like hours off the beaten path anywhere in Montana.
And it's funny because I really feel like he would have approved of you living in the van. And
Probably. I think that was his style. Dude, I get it. I mean, like me and him, we got a lot of stuff in common, you know. He's a little bit smarter than me, you know, but he has an advanced degree in mathematics. I have a basics degree in physics, you know. I fear technology and it's creeping into my life. You know, I appreciate it, but it's also like kind of fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I've been getting this weird thing like every 6 months for the last couple of years. The powers that be in the universe of targeted ads decide that I need to receive advertisements for Biktarvy, which is an HIV suppression medication. And I don't know what about my search histories makes Google think that I have HIV, because I'm not like, do I have AIDS 3 times a day? It just randomly comes up and it'll stick around for a few weeks. I'll watch a YouTube video and be like, Biktarvy, and it's just like, you know, it's like, and it's always the same thing too. It's always an interracial gay couple at a barbecue. You know, and it's like side effects may include like, you know, forgetting who your mom is or whatever. It's like Biktarvy. But this is the craziest thing about those ads. I didn't know what Biktarvy was. It's just like, use Biktarvy. Like it's real like vague in the ad, right?
It doesn't say anything.
So then I had to Google what is Biktarvy. So then it just makes it worse because they're like, like
it's like compound interest.
Yeah, dude. It's like, we're gonna probe you with this thing and be like, hey, do you know what this medication is for some shit that you don't have? You know. The wildest shit would be if like the next time I get a physical, that Google was right.
Yeah, that would be
crazy, right?
That'd be insane,
right? Like if the next time I got blood work done.
Do you have any wearables? Like I've used this stupid fucking thing.
The Apple Watch. I don't.
I was gonna say it might know.
I think it would.
I have a feeling that like Amazon's coming out with one, and it's like
fuck that, dude.
Yeah, dude. Like
fuck that, dude.
It seems insane. Honestly, I wear this for time, and I realized when I bought it that I made the biggest mistake of my life.
Yeah.
Because now this thing knows everything about me, and now I get ads for sleep medications, like sleep help. Because like my sleep is fucked.
Right.
Now it knows my sleep is fucked.
It can measure how fucked it is.
And like they have to be selling that information.
They are 100%.
Yeah.
So this is the thing though. Is like you know when is it going to come to the point where they're going to want to push a product and they just decide that you have the problem?
Yeah.
How do you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, do you have your own independent technology that's measuring your circadian rhythm? Like, you don't fucking know. Like, maybe your sleep's fucking fine. Yeah. And they're just telling you that your sleep's bad. You know what I mean? Like,
true, yeah. I didn't think about that.
I have it with, you know, I don't even know what to do. Like, I have an Android because I was like, because I had an Apple phone and then I got an Android. This was years ago. Because I was still living with my mom, so it was like a package deal thing that we got, and I got a new Android that was better than the iPhone I had. And then Apple wanted to charge me money to turn my iMessages off. Yeah. And I was like, dude, I'm not buying anything from you ever again. That was like 10 years ago. And now I'm like, are they better than Google? I don't know. Like, Google knows every fucking thing about me.
Yeah.
You know, like I got off Facebook a while ago. I mean, I'm on Instagram. I'm sure they have the same information. But like, Facebook is wild. It'll be like, you're a 33-year-old white man from the suburbs, but you love black culture or some shit like that, you know?
Yeah. Like, the thing that I always hate about, like, Facebook itself is that, like, it selects what it shows you now. Like, like I used to like knowing what my aunt posts or, like, you know, like my family when it did it, like, chronologically. Like, I enjoy
even like
that.
YouTube. Like, YouTube, it's like, how many hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every day? Why do I see the same videos in my feed every time I open it up?
Yep. And like
they were brilliant though with just giving the shit away for free for years and getting you hooked on YouTube. And now they're just like, fuck you with ads, fuck you with ads, fuck you with ads. You know?
Yep. And like a lot of them too. Like I watch this British show on YouTube because I can't get it anywhere else. It's Taskmaster. It's great. It's like comedians doing tasks, and it's funny. And
right.
But every 3 minutes, they give me an ad.
Yeah.
And it's the most fucking annoying shit. And it's not single ads; it's double ads.
Yeah.
So even when I hit skip ad, then I have to watch the entire fucking next ad.
Yeah, dude.
It's like, it's frustrating.
It almost makes you want to like go outside, you know?
Yeah,
like,
it makes
read, like write something, get a hobby, you know? It's like there's gonna be backlash against it. But I mean, I would, if I had the financial means to, dude, I would fucking get a 6 Sprinter. I get one of the big boys, you know what I mean? I get every surfboard that I wanted in there. I'd get like a kitchen and a stove, and I'd build all that in there, and I would just fucking do whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That to me would be the best.
Yeah. And now like when you were doing that, like the technology is not really a distraction for you because you're just focused on living, right? Like
it's less of a distraction,
I
would say, than it is like when I'm living in my apartment now. I would say it's less of a distraction because it's like I like the just the purposefulness of a day.
Yeah, you have to think about like battery consumption and like
you're like, oh, I like you know, like I can't just ignore this pile of laundry because like I don't have room anymore.
Yeah.
Or like it's smelling in here. You know what I mean? Like and I only have 5 feet of space to stay in.
Yeah.
Or like, like if I want to go surf, like I have to account for the fact that like I'm going to need to take time to dry my wetsuit before I put it back into its spot because it'll get molded. You know what I mean? Like all those kind of things.
Yeah.
Like it takes all of that, which it's weird because there's that whole like it's a weird thing, right? Because the whole Walden fucking
the existentialism.
Yeah. Who the fuck wrote Walden?
Ralph Waldo Emerson?
Was it him or Thoreau? Well, I can't remember which one it was. I don't know. Besides the point, whatever it is, it's like, oh, we need to go back to this like simple life and all that kind of stuff. And it's actually like a luxury of having too much shit on some level, I think. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Because I try to think, dude, like if I was like actually like homeless, or if I was like, I mean, dude, if we want to be real about it, like, I mean, I'm sure everyone is aware of the idea, but if you want to see like American exceptionalism and what we did to a group of people, like when you get out to like Native American reservations and stuff, like that's a level of poverty that doesn't exist anywhere else in the country. Yeah. Just rural poverty in general though. Yeah. But I mean that in particular, but like I grew up around here, like we were in a an urban area more or less, right?
Yeah.
And I always had this idea of poverty being like the projects and stuff like that, and like that's not poverty. No. Like poverty is like Appalachia, the Native American reservations, like when you get out into like the Midwest and there's people living in like trailers and shit like that. Yeah. So like those people have to live deliberately too, but it's not it's not enjoyable for them. So it's like a weird thing, right? Like so it's like how lucky am I that I get to make the decision to go do this shit?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, people always tell me that like, true wealth is in the ability to make a decision.
Right.
Yeah, and when you
fuck you money.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where the fuck you money comes from. Yeah. I mean, it's like, and people would be like, "Oh, well, money doesn't solve everything." It's like it solves a lot of the basic shit. Like it really does. Like it's a weird thing. Like I've finally got a good union job now. Like I have a steady paycheck and all that kind of shit, right? So I can't just like go fucking disappear for weeks at a time, right?
Yeah.
But I don't have to worry about like how am I going to eat tomorrow like I used to have to. So it's like it's a balancing act, right?
Yeah.
But it would be really like ironic if I got to a point where I had enough financial freedom to live like I'm poor. Like that's kind of what it comes down to, right?
Yeah.
Like and that's the weird thing when you see like van life influencers and shit like that. You're like, dude, you're like, for the most part, like, these are the assumptions that I'm going to make about like most of them. Like you have wealth that was inherited. You want to go do like more power to you, I guess,
Well, even like that's a big thing now that like everyone talks about privilege and what's your privilege, like
Right.
generational wealth, even if it's bare minimum generational wealth, like one property in your family,
Right.
that's still so valuable.
Absolutely.
Like
Absolutely.
I almost don't want to like put a price on how valuable that is,
Right.
because like just like me knowing that whatever I do, I can fall back to living here is, I cannot put a price on that.
Right.
That's invaluable to me.
Then the other side of it, though, is like, what happens if you lived as if that wasn't the case? Then it's like, then you got like fit or flight. Like, that's kind of cool in its own way too, you know?
Yeah. But again, that's having that choice to
is
do
awesome.
that.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't have those choices. You know, and that's like trying to be aware of that. It's like but the other thing too is always like, you know, the fucking idea of gatekeeping for trauma for people. Like, you didn't go through enough. It's like, dude, like everybody, like, you know, it's like there's different levels of what things that people go through, but like basically like everybody like wants to have somewhere safe to stay, be able to eat, and then want to get the private parts moist, and that's like the goals of life for people, you know. And like that's across like whatever sexual orientations, race, religion, creeds, like that's like everything. So like, if we all start there, be like, all right, look, like everybody should have access to that. You know,
it's literally the only thing that has driven evolution. Those three things.
So the McDonough 2024 campaign plan is to get vans in the hands of all these people that have nowhere to live, you know.
That's right.
That would be it, dude. Give them carpentry lessons, you know what I mean? Hey, dude, you want to shoot up in the fucking van? We gave it to you. Right? You know, like, this is it, dude. Like, here's, you know, vans for all, right? Like,
oh my goodness. I mean, especially we're going to be into the largest homeless probably since the Depression, like coming out of this.
It's weird, man. It's a fucking weird time.
Yeah.
It's a very weird time.
Yeah. I mean, knock on fucking wood. You know, I mean, it feels good to be lucky, but it feels good to be aware that I'm lucky.
Yeah. Gratitude.
Yeah.
Gratitude. Yeah. And that was something that was like you could find if you if you live a simpler lifestyle. I think it's easier to appreciate.
Yeah.
Like the basics as being like having something to be grateful for. You know. Yeah. Like, if you're like, oh, it's fucking cold out, and I got this warm place to be. Yeah. Like, how easy is that to take for granted?
Yeah.
Like, none of that other shit matters, you know?
Yeah.
This has gone, like, all over the place. Like, this is Vans. We're like, talking about, like, social issues, you know?
That's exactly what I always tell people, that, like, your topic is just a jump-off point. Like, it's just a reason to do this.
Yeah. Just somewhere to keep it going, so it's not, like, awkward, like, weird, like, when we're at the back of the comedy place, like, we can't look at each other in the eyes and we're talking to each other and shit. You know? So we're all, like, touched just a little bit.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Like most of us, I think.
What do you got coming up? We're doing a roast.
Next week.
Yeah,
a week from today.
Oh, this probably might not be out. I don't know. It might be out
May 1st.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
1st. Yeah, I'm coming for you, James Ratboy Moss.
Yeah,
I just met you for the first time yesterday. You're very nice, but you're gonna get this work. Yeah, dude. I have some stuff coming up in the summer. I don't know. The person I'm doing it with doesn't want me to talk about it, but hopefully there'll be some big things coming up locally.
All right, rad.
And then, yeah, man, I got a album on Spotify. It's pretty, like, I appreciate you liking it. I listen to it and I'm like, ugh. Like, ugh. Which I think is a good thing, right? Like, I think if I'm not like, ugh, from shit from like a year and a half ago, then I'm not getting better.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's some good stuff on there.
It's good. I like you challenge the way people think, and I appreciate that just in general.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I just think stuff's stupid, and then I'm like, it's stupid for this reason. I'm very contrarian. Like, like and also devil's advocate though. Like, I always want to try to see both sides of things. You know, I try to like.
It always seems purposeful. It never seems like you're just being contrarian just to be contrarian.
I appreciate that. Yeah. And it's funny, like I found with my jokes that like the people that get mad at the stuff that I say like don't get what I'm trying to say usually.
Yeah.
Like I had on that album, I had a joke about the border, and I remember doing that joke one time, and this girl's like, "That's not funny." I'm like, "That's the point. Like I don't think that people in cages is a good thing. That's why I'm trying to make a joke about it. Like I'm not like, oh yeah, like we should put more of them in there.
Yeah.
Like I'm obviously like being satirical here, you know? Like
Yeah.
people are so fucking stupid though.
Yeah.
Do you deal with like, and this is gonna sound weird, right? But do you feel like, do you have an ego problem where you feel like you're smarter than most of the people that you meet?
I want to say no,
but you know that that's not the case, right?
Yeah. I do feel somewhat intellectually superior to most of the people I meet on a daily basis.
So is that like an essential delusion to have to be a comedian, do you think?
Ooh. I don't know if that's an essential delusion, but I believe that delusion is essential
to being a comedian.
Yeah.
Because you got to think that there's some reason that anybody gives a fuck about what I have to say. First off,
sometimes I would say yes. So that I do generally think that I'm smarter than most people, but I like to make them think that I'm dumber than them. That's a
with the
fun,
ropey dope.
Yeah, that's a fun way
dope.
to, because realistically, I just tell dick jokes. I'm not telling like grand, like gonna change your mind about stuff.
Right.
So like, I kind of use the I'm smarter than you, so I'm gonna trick you into these dick jokes.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with dick jokes though. Dick jokes are the best. Like, there's like dick jokes, fart jokes, and like, you know, who do you like? Like there's, I mean, honestly, we're all just like trying to keep up with how funny farts are. Yeah. Like a well-timed fart is the funniest thing that's ever happened and ever will happen. Like you're not getting that. Like, well, maybe I switch the wording here, you know what I mean? And like do a callback at this part in my set. Like somebody in the audience rips ass loud enough for the mic to pick it up, it's going to crush better than you like 90% of the time. You know?
I was listening to Matt and Shane's Secret Show, and they're saying the only reason that comics get up and speak into the mic is because it's almost impossible to fart on command.
Yeah.
Like if you could just get up and fart like for an hour, you'd be the funniest fucking person in the
wealthiest comedian on earth.
But thank you for coming out and doing this.
Man, thanks for having me.
Fan Comic on Spotify.
Follow the Instagram. That's the only other place.
I'm gonna post the little link.
McDonough.Sean. I'm gonna get a sticker for my car window now.
Oh yeah. And then you'll have like a little microphone bumper sticker.
Yeah. Like I have babies. You know what I mean? Like every time I put an album out, I get a little microphone. You know.
I like it. All right, play us out, dude. Tim. Tim's kinda dumb. Let's help him get smart. It's time to teach Tim stuff.
That was fun, man.
Thank you for doing it.